when my son was 4. Now, I would say let's say from 1 through 4. My son, All Metal Baby. What I really miss doing with my son, All Metal Baby, aka Hardcore Hunger Rocks, aka Mention and a Half. What I truly miss from the ages from 1 through 4. We'll go 1 through 4. What I truly miss doing with my son, Hardcore Hunger Rocks, aka All Metal Baby. What I truly miss doing with him from ages 1 through 4 was walking into coffee shops or walking into my local farm, get my farm fresh eggs, and carry my son on my hip with my right arm, looking like I was carrying like a football, because that was the response I'd always get from all these random pedestrians. Because I was so much of a putsy moron to do like the front backpack thing. Way too complicated, way too involved. So I'd go into a coffee shop holding my son with one arm by my side, and every person would constantly say, "You're carrying him like a football." And I'd say, "Air guitar appendage is more like it. He's All Metal Baby for a reason. Holla! Overexplosion child. Can I get a holla for Bon Scott? The original Overexplosion child, and arguably the most fantastic one of all. Holla! Bon Scott School Day. Thank you very much. Still, my introduction to AC/DC started with House Bells, Holla! And that being the comeback AC/DC record showcasing Brian Johnson, who's now borderline deaf. Now all he hears is House Bells, Holla! Bon Scott School Day, Overexplosion Child, hit the motherfucking house, Holla! But the first time I heard the haunting, stuck in time, church bell clang on House Bells by AC/DC, my pubescent soul no longer felt like an amorphous void of scaredy cat goo. It was as if God came down from heaven himself to my boombox of yesteryear to tell me, "You're more metal than you think, kid, and you only start living when you get out of your self-esteem strangling head already," which is what heavy metal is doing to you right now. So stop acting like another Richard Lewis. Pubescent, pots in the making. As you can see, I also breathe renewed life into knock-kneed, putz-prone kids like yourself to AC/DC too. Your manly metamorphosis has begun. You're welcome! Holla! Birth of an overexplosion child. Thank you very much. Remember the Women's March on Washington after Trump beat Hillary, Hammer Time Cankles, Huma Liquor Breath, fair and square? All you saw at that Women's March on Washington was a whole lot of rosies sporting a whole lot of tins. Holla! When Madonna wasn't playing, kicked the can with her camel toe size clit that looked blown up beyond repair, like it got dragged through a minefield in the occupied territory in the last leg of her living off skanky fumes of yesteryear tour. Overexplosion child, rubber dub dub doors, I can't think no more. Dice lives, holla, thank you very much. Dennis Rodman admits that he refused to go down on Madonna's book As Bad as I Want to Be. Madonna says, "Go down on me, worm." And Rodman says, "I'll be as squeamish as I want to be, bitch." Your snatch is so blown up. It says Kim Jong's nuclear testing sites were here. Holla! Blown up snatch girl. Holla! Thank you very much. I don't need Stone Cold's opinion on the LeBron versus MJ debate. Thanks. Stick to slamming your hick spit swiller stunner. Holla! Weigh in on whether you think Hulk Hogan should be banned from the WWE Hall of Fame. for asking a crowd during his beer promo event at body slamming Kamala was a good idea if the opportunity presented itself. Whoa, kick, please. Like, Hogan would ever get that close to Kamala without tripping on her camel toe sized clit. Whoa, kick, please. Holla. Overexplosion child. Thank you very much. Go for a walk. That's you disrupted my killer flow. My future Bon Scott comedian interview debut. To tell me you're gonna go for a walk. Okay, I have trust. Good. I make sure when she comes back she's not mopey. Okay. So you give me a mopey removal guarantee. Say, Daddy, I will deliver a mopey removal guarantee. I will deliver a mopey removal guarantee. All right, good work. Get out of here. Damn felon. What felonious behavior was Trump guilty of again? Mislabeling hush money payments as fake news gag order payments? Holla! Because if anybody's guilty of violating a gag order, it's Stormy Daniels. When you paid hush money, you're supposed to swallow your words slurpy, or else your hush money arrangement means less than your padded director credits on imdb.com. Yeah, for the past 8 years on Jimmy Kimmel, and of all you heard is Stormy Daniels yap on about the size of Trump's shiitake-sized dick. Get your gag reflex under control, bitch. Swallowing matter. Holla! Overexplosion child. Thank you very much. This is the Old School Podcast where first loves never die. In this case, we're talking about heavy metal. Holla! And the infinitely superior band to them all, AC/DC. Holla! Back where it all begins. Bon Scott School Day. Thank you very much. But yes, AC/DC is responsible for my internal kick-started manly metamorphosis, where I realized that I was more metal manly than my father gave me the impression of. And during the Old School Love podcast, where First Loves Never Die, we have a couple of segments. And in this case, we're talking about trading records day and the momentous trade that my two sons, millionaire by 10, Arthur Morrison Cornbooth, who was just in here, who just guaranteed the removal guarantee. His name is Arthur Morrison Cornbooth. I care a lot about rock and roll, giving my children tremendous legendary frontman mojos to live up to. And his younger brother, Samuel Teddy Cornbluth, named after Teddy Roosevelt, a rock star president, if there ever was one, got fucking shot, still gave a speech for 45 minutes, pulled the Bob Marley. So they made a trade, and that trade was Back in Black, second best-selling album of all time. My son made that, my youngest, Chosen Curls is bound to. He traded that for Let There Be Rock. Ballsy trade by Mr. Nutsy Russell's over there, because as most of the living world who has any sort of connection to like the outside pop culture universe knows that AC/DC Back in Black has got You Shook Me All Night Long, Back in Black, and nice lotion, holla, and spells. It's got a lot. But Let There Be Rock's got Go Down, Go Down. Cardi B, you'd figure you would learn not to use so much teeth already, so you can go fuck off, your stank ass freaking yeast-ridden vagina. You can go woke yourself a long time, so fuck off, holla. Overexplosion, love child, thank you very much. So that momentous trade, and they consider Let There Be Rock one of the loudest albums of all time, and I would know I'm an authority on loudness. I'm so loud. I'm louder than Busta Rhymes at a midnight showing of Higher Learning. Holla! So that trade was made, and it got me thinking of another guy. There's nothing to do with Bon Scott on paper. His name was Frank Thomas. So another segment of the show is called Card History Appreciation Day, and Frank Thomas was called the Big Hurt, and everyone growing up wanted to play only football, and he said, "Screw you! I'm going to be the greatest right-handed hitter ever," and came pretty damn close. He's considered the right-handed Ted Williams. Never did the juice. Did amphetamines for a little bit, which I still think is a form of uh, performance-enhancing drugs, which everyone did back in the day. So I'm like, yeah, I think you really should, lose the moral high ground a little bit, saying, well, Bonds, should be in the Hall of Fame because he took steroids. But everyone back in the day took speed, and I remember hearing quotes from Dallas Strawberry saying, with speed, the ball will look like the size of a softball. So I think that's a form of cheating. And all I know is that if I took performance-enhancing drugs, I took HGH, the sleepaway camp in Connecticut back in the 90s, I just would have struck out with more accelerated speed. Overexplosion, love child. Holla, thank you very much. So, and Frank Thomas definitely marched his own drummer. That was the one thing my father had to say about me during my wedding. And what does that mean? You march your own drummer. It means you do your own thing and you don't really care too much about other people's opinions. So, I thought it's fitting that, I just put a mini spotlight here on Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt, and on Bon Scott, who I don't recall really having many nicknames, but I'm going to call him Overexplosion. Love Child. Holla! Overexplosion Child. Thank you very much. I've definitely always been accused of getting too easily excited. My dad's constant. Whenever I show any sort of innate spark, enthusiasm, he says, calm down. Stop being so evidently happy in my presence. I'm never this excited about anything that comes out of my brain ever. Except when I start talking about your brother again. So, today, on the Old School Law Podcast, where First Loves Never Die, we are going to introduce a new segment. I'm talking forever. Haven't done it. Called the Comedian Medium. Holla! Where I interview the spirits of dead artists that I admire. In some cases, they could be professional athletes too, who are artistes in their own right, who definitely march uh, to the beat of their own drummer. So let's get this interview underway. So, Bon Scott, great to have you. I'm glad you could take a time out from sniffing your armpits and deciding what smells worse, that or a whole lot of Rosie's uh, Cheeto laced snatch on a lazy Monday. So, Bon, what's your opinion of non-alcoholic beer? It's for pussy cunts, mate. Pussy cunts. Okay, fair enough. Personally, I stopped drinking the non-alcoholic seltzers, Bon, because it made me feel like a non-essential Betty Draper. I don't know who the fuck you're talking about, mate. That's right. You have better things to do than watch repeats of Mad Men and on Mount Metal when you're just like inundated with endless mountains of muff. You got it, you fruitcake. Okay, so Bon. So Bon, I came up with this song title. Not a song title, good idea for a short story called "Daughter Eats Daughter," because I read about that story about how you overdosed. I don't know from what, but you're in the hospital, and you started bragging to everyone, saying, "Yeah, so you visited two women in the hospital that were giving birth to two separate daughters, almost at the same time." And I was thinking, I could write a story like "Daughter Eats Daughter" about two daughters, fighting over like the right to uh, use your last name for their, you know, rock and roll, singer career. And yeah, they could have, and then they have some sort of ballsy contest. Is that like who's the ballsiest? And I don't know. It's a starting point. What do you think, Brian? You think something promising there? Girls and balls, mate. I mean, I can get into it, but it's not my first choice. Fair enough, Bond. So, Bond, how do you feel about the fact that Jack, the song about getting STDs, is your most played song back in the day? What did that tell you about your audience? What do you think it means, mate? It means that my audience are not inundated in muff and they'll stick their dick in like anything that allows them to. You freaking shelter cunts. Okay, all right, Bun, we're making progress here. So, Bun, you died of alcoholic intoxication, correct? But I mean, does that mean that you're a fucking lightweight cook? I mean, I've downed like entire almost entire bottles of bourbon. I've never died from it. I mean, was there anything else to play? Mate, when you write the song, LA ain't a bad place to be, or it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, you can get back to me on your alleged rock star lifestyle. Okay? Fair enough, Bond. So, Rolling Stone rank you as the greatest frontman of all time. Yeah, most people have never heard of you. How do you deal with that in Mount Metal, Heavy Metal Heaven? I wasn't chained to a desk doing some freaking shit job that everyone could fucking do. I was somebody. I got the most visited grave in freaking Australia. You think I give a shit? But people know more about Freddie Mercury? That gummy faced fruit? Like, who else is ranked above me? Well, actually, there's no one ranked above me, but I mean, yeah. So no more people know about the Golden God, but after Led Zeppelin, who cares? Fair enough, Bond. So you died in London. Does that bother you at all, Bond? Being dying in London. I mean, like, when you prefer to die like your original homeland of Scotland, or in your adopted country of Australia. London, Australia. What difference does it make, mate? I went out with a freaking bang. Fair enough, Bond. So you made 7 albums with AC/DC, Bond, before you died at 33. Do you have a personal favorite you want to share? Go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. Whole lot of Rosie. Do you know what that album's called? Yeah, okay. All right, so Let There Be Rock. Fair enough, Bond. So how do you feel about Back in Black becoming the second best-selling album of all time without your involvement in it? I think you're a freaking insufferable cunt for pointing that out. Okay, all right, let's move forward. So, you attempted to join the Australian Army but were rejected because you were deemed socially maladjusted. What does that mean to you? It means I suck at taking orders. But I think that, you're a freaking latent gimp that will be tailor made for it. If you want to know, cunt. Okay, no problem. Message received. So I think Love Hungry Man is like your crowning accomplishment as a singer songwriter, frontman, killer. Care to refute? It's a good song, mate. But crowning accomplishment? I don't know. I don't think I'm a crowning accomplishment. I was an artiste, rocker. I made albums, and I lived to rock, and I lived to rock out to the fullest. I lived to show off my big balls and have them fondled and caressed as much as humanly possible. So yes, Love Hungry Man encapsulated who I was, and yes, it's an iconic kid, and I'm glad it was on my last album with the band. 'Cause I'm a love hungry man. Holla! Overexplosion, love child. Thank you very much. So, how do you feel about the fact that Illusion Hologram Production Company, the CEO, passed and using a hologram of you? So, do you think that a hologram of Bon Scott was too scary to reproduce? I'm beginning to like you more. You're not so much of an insufferable cunt. Okay, and that wraps up our interview with Bon Scott. It's our first segment of the Comedian Medium Podcast. Again, this is the old school love podcast where first loves never die. And to those about to rock, we salute you. Holla! And I'll talk to you guys soon.